Yasuo and Yone are not doing very good right now. Yasuo with a 46% and Yone with a 46% win rate. They're not very viable right now. Or are they? In fact, this video will be showing that Yasuo and Yone are viable if they build correctly, and Riot very likely jumped the gun and buffed them way too quickly into this patch. I'm parting my hair the wrong way because we are currently doing evil Hashinshin because I'm telling Yasuo and Yone players how to build their champions and how they can play this game better. Let's talk about what happened here. At 2:43 p.m., Riot Froxon said that they were going to hotfix buff Yone, Yasuo, and Kindred. Since this patch only went live at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., somewhere around there had not even been 12 hours before they decided to buff Yasuo and Yone. The problem is, as many people suspected, there was likely builds out there, there were likely things out there that were good and viable that people were just simply not picking up on. What would those things be? Well, when we look at Yasuo, we can see a clear disparity between his items here. 46% win rate on Static Shiv. Static Shiv is terrible, and basically no champion should build it right now. 47% win rate on Infinity Edge, which is and a 52% win rate on Gale Force. With 6,200 games reporting at Plat Plus, it is quite clear. Gale Force is extremely good on Yone. Infinity Edge is being massively outperformed. In fact, we can see that Infinity Edge, even second item, has a negative win rate. Whereas these other items, if paired with Gale Force, because this would be the only other mythic, so the only time you wouldn't be building Infinity Edge is if you're building another item that go with Gale Force, you can see here that, yes, Gale Force is massively outperforming Infinity Edge. This stays true for Yone. Yone has a 48% win rate against Static Shiv, which again is terrible, and no one should build it. A 51% win rate on Gale Force with 4,000 games reporting, well, 3,999, and 47% win rate on Infinity Edge. What is causing this then? Why is Gale Force doing so good on Yasuo and it's doing so good on Yone that actually the champions look, when to factor in the hotfix buffs, that they will be quite overpowered? Before we do that, let's talk about what these hotfix buffs were really quick. Yasuo got 9 more health per level. He got 25 more shield on his passive, and his Windwall cooldown went down by 5 to 3 seconds at rank 1 to 5. These are substantial buffs. Yone got 2 more base armor, 6 more health growth. The cooldown on his shield was reduced by 2 seconds at 0 attack speed, and his shield amount was increased by 10, which then doubles against champions, as well as getting 10% more AD ratio on the shield. These are substantial buffs for champions that, let's be honest, very likely were not actually underperforming that hard. So let's look into Gale Force. Gale Force is an 83.3% critical strike chance scaling. What does that mean? That means it does more damage based on your critical strike chance. We can look into Yasuo right here, and we can see that Yasuo gets 2.5 times critical strike chance. 2.5 times. So if he gets 20%, instead he gets 50%. Shockingly, this means that Gale Force scales extremely, extremely well on Yasuo and Yone. Infinity Edge is not scaling so great because obviously Gale Force, just being a Giga Burst item, is doing way, way better. Now, there's a few things I want to talk about with this one, okay? And these should be questions that Riot should hopefully answer. But the first one I actually want to put towards you guys, because this is actually something that bothered me. Because I keep making these videos saying that the balance team is making dumb decisions. And I do think they're making dumb decisions. I don't think they're actually playtesting what they're putting out lately. I don't think they're actually crunching numbers. I don't think they're actually taking out a notepad and writing stuff down and seeing how much DPS something like Rageblade will do. I don't think they're doing that. However, one thing I don't like that you guys are doing lately is like attacking the developers as like people. Like, attack them as developers, because like at the end of the day they're making balanced decisions, and I disagree with those balanced decisions, but I don't actually hate them like as people. So don't attack them as people. One thing I would highly recommend everybody does is don't actually use, like, if a developer has like a screen name or something, use like the screen name. Don't like ever call them by their real names, because that's like weirdly personal and weird. So just don't don't do that, okay? Like, don't hate developers as people, hate them as, like, you know, balanced people. I just want to say that because some of you guys are getting, like, weirdly personal with this, which is kind of making it awkward for me. The second thing I want to talk about is, and really these are two things I'm going to posit here, okay? So the first thing is, if Infinity Edge is underperforming on Yasuo and Yone players likely want to be building Infinity Edge. Why? Because they want big crits, because they're little babies who just want big crit damage, goo goo gaga. Okay? So, do you think that Riot should then nerf Gale Force on Yasuo and Yone and push more of an Infinity Edge build on them? Would that be more fun, or do you think Gale Force is just their new thing? Because in the past, we have seen that Riot is willing to balance champions entirely around a mythic that seems a bit unfun and exploitive to fight against. In this case, it seems to be Gale Force now, giving them lots of movement speed, giving them another gap closer, giving them an insane execute. This item actually is quite annoying on them. Do you think that they should be pushed off this item? How do you think, then, that they should be pushed off this item? I think they could give them a special rule or something with their crit chance, but realistically, they are just doing so goddamn good with Gale Force. That's just a question I have for you guys and for everyone else. The second question I have, and I guess this is more for Riot, should you be buffing these champions because they're not performing well with other items? Because if they're actually performing well with Gale Force, we can see here, Yasuo's win rate would jump substantially. This is much like when you guys released Mythics to begin with, and Stridebreaker on Darius was only like 30% of his pick rate, and then Trinity was like 70% of his pick rate. And as I made videos and I talked about it, and as more and more people started to go to Stridebreaker, Darius's win rate went from 49 to 50 to 51 to 52 to 53%, and all of a sudden, he was just dominating the game. Do I think Yasuo's win rate will go to 53%? No. But we're talking about a champion who's balanced at like 49 to 48% win rate, especially with how massive his pick rate is, who very likely will be achieving a 51 to 52% win rate. In other words, he'll be exactly as overpowered, +3 win rate over where he should be, as Darius was with Stridebreaker. So much like how Darius had to be balanced on Stridebreaker, should we not then balance Yone and Yasuo on Gale Force? Because as more and more people start using it, as more and more people get good at using it, and in particular, as these pre-hotfix numbers get fleshed out, we'll start seeing that, yes, their win rate will start going up substantially, and they will likely, Yasuo and Yone will likely reach, at the very least, they're going to reach probably 51% win rate. They might even reach 52%. So I guess the question is, if they have a viable build, should we then be buffing them? Period. Like, I guess that's just my question, because it seems to me pretty clear as day. Yone, who's balanced like 48% win rate, his win rate is going to continue to skyrocket. It's going to continue to go up. Yone, we can still see Blade of the Ruined King Rush does good on him. Gale Force still does good on him. It's just that Static Shiv on both champions, which became their most popular item, is terrible. And it is not doing good on either champion whatsoever. I want to go over Static Shiv one question because it's just bugging me. Okay. You guys do realize Static Shiv doesn't crit, right? Because the whole reason it used to be good on Yasuo was because it crit. The on-hit crit, which made it good on Yasuo. It doesn't crit. I don't think it crits, to my knowledge. If it does crit, I'm going to look like a real idiot right now, but I don't think it actually crits. And overall, the item is just weak to begin with. So why are you all rushing Static Shiv? With 13,000 Plat Plus games of Static Shiv, at what point did you guys keep rushing this item into a 46% win rate? How much did you guys mash your face into this steel girder, right? Just bashing your face into a brick wall. How many times are you guys going to do that before you start thinking, well, I mean, I guess actually I don't need to complete the sentence. Yasuo and Yone players will never think. I will think for you. Please stop going Static Shiv. Please start going Gale Force. Your games will go a lot better. That's basically this video. That's basically all I wanted to talk about today. This is probably going to be a short one because we're only talking about 2 champions. You guys kind of wanted more videos on how to build champions. This is my... I'm kind of giving you a video on how to build champions right now. If you want me to tell you in total how to build Yone, I did see a build path here that seemed quite good, even though the pick rate was low and the win rate is kind of off skewer because of the pick rate. Gale Force into Bloodthirsters into Death Dance seems to be doing quite good on him. Once again, with only 200 games on that build path, it seems to be a bit sketchy. The win rate isn't, obviously, you know, with only 200, the win rate can be like all around, right? Because like no one's done it. But what I would recommend, if you're doing Yone, do Gale Force into Bloodthirster into Death Dance. That seems to be doing quite good. For Yasuo, basically the same thing, actually. Yeah, Gale Force into Bloodthirster into Death Dance. I would recommend that on either champion. They're doing quite good. So that's it. That's this for this entire video. It's just, I just want to talk about this real quick. A, so Yasuo and Yone players stop inting away their win rate. And B, because, you know, I guess it's just a question, like, should we really be hotfixing a champion this early? And I guess more importantly, should we really be hotfixing a champion because people want to do a different build than the build that's top tier, right? Like, if we buffed, for example, Singe players who wanted to do a tank build instead of Demonic Embrace, he would be giga overpowered with Demonic Embrace, right? So if we're buffing Yone players, Yasuo players who don't want to go Gale Force, who want to go Infinity Edge, then Gale Force is going to end up quite overpowered on these champions, as it is very likely to be now. So that's it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. And as always, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everybody.